Broadcasting from the Civic Cypher Studios, welcome to the QR Code, where we share perspective, seek understanding, and shape outcomes. The man you are about to hear from is a man who is always calm during a crisis. He is the Q in the QR Code. He goes by the name of Q Ward.
And the voice that you just heard, and I said this to you before, so it might sound familiar, be lying. Because I do not be calm. I be stressed out. He be calm and smiling and acting like everything gonna be okay. Well, I be pailing water off the ship. He is the R in the QR Code. He goes by the name Ramses Ja.
Don't believe that hype. Anyway, I need you to stick around. A little later on in the show, of course, it's been a big weekend. A lot of stuff we are not going to be able to cover, and we really wish we could, but a lot of stuff we have to cover, just kind of dictated by what's going on in the world. Turns out, Kid Rock likes underage girls too. We're going to talk about that in our entertainment segment. That's going to be icky, so buckle up. Prior to that, we're going to have some dialogue. How would you approach forgiving your worst enemy? Q Ward's clapback. The numbers told the truth. Again, we're not going to be able to get away from it, so we're leaning all the way into it, and looks like we got the data to back the positions we thought we might hold. For better do better, the Department of Justice removes Esptein files accusing Trump of child grape. We have to say it that way so we don't get demonetized, but we're going to share a few details on that story. We're going to share our opinions on a new policy. Green card holders are no longer eligible for SBA loans in the United States and the implications. And what's going on in the culture, the big news that we weren't able to cover yet because of the way that our show is scheduled. Donald Trump posted video of the Obamas as monkeys. But as always, we like to start off with a feel-good feature, and today's feel-good feature comes from CNN. And you know what? There's really not a whole lot that I need to say. We'll let the horse's mouth figuratively explain her position. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene calling MAGA a big lie a few days ago, according to CNN. Here we go.
MAGA is, I think people are realizing it was all a lie. It was a big lie for the people. What MAGA is really serving is, in this administration, who they're serving is their big donors. Those are the people that get the special favors, they get the government contracts, they get the pardons, or somebody they love, or one of their friends gets a pardon. And it's the foreign countries that are running the show here.
So yeah, again, that's straight from the horse's mouth. That wasn't my opinion, wasn't Q's opinion. That's from one of the biggest MAGA personalities of all time. And of course, we've covered, her distance and distancing, I guess, from the MAGA movement. But for her to articulate what we've been saying and to do so from a first-hand perspective, I think is validating. Around here, one of the things that we have to do is remind a lot of our listeners and each other sometimes that we're not crazy, and that this is wrong and this is ghoulish, reprehensible behavior. And the last person I thought would round that corner, I'm grateful that she did, is Marjorie Taylor Greene. So if that's not a feel-good feature, I don't know what is. So culture. This is this has been kind of a tough week. I want to make sure that we state this very plainly. There was a story about 4 Haitian women that were found decapitated after being deported from Puerto Rico. It's a story that we really thought that we needed to cover for obvious reasons, and just because of time, we're not able to get to it. But I implore you, if you're able to find that headline, please read about these women and their circumstances. There was a story about how the Esptein files revealed a prosecutor's announcement of Espstein's death before he actually died. It was dated prior to his death, that the announcement of his death was dated prior to his actual death. So there's all kinds of stuff, things like that we're not able to get to today. But, all the stuff, we hope that you are able to make time to dive deep into these stories or find them somewhere where they can actually cover it. But obviously we have to talk about Donald Trump posting a video of the Obamas as monkeys. There's no way we couldn't do it. And sometimes the job is a little tough. So let's get into it. This is from the Atlanta Black Star. The White House moved quickly into damage control mode after President Donald Trump triggered intense backlash for sharing a racist video depicting Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as apes, an unusually pressured retreat that unfolded as criticism mounted, not just from Democrats, but from within Trump's own party. After hours of blowback, the video was quietly deleted from Trump's Truth Social account, a rare reversal for an administration that more often doubles down, mocks critics, or shrugs off outrage as a joke. When an initial attempt to once deflect from responsibility backfired, responsibility was shifted away from Trump, a move critics described as both convenient and implausible. CNN's White House correspondent, Elena Treen, reported that a White House official claimed, quote, a staffer erroneously made the post, unquote, and that it has been taken down. Trump has offered no apology. The video itself, posted during the first week of Black History Month, revived a racist trope long used to dehumanize Black people. Critics said the timing fit a familiar pattern, particularly Trump's fixation on the Obamas and his repeated use of degrading imagery and language involving Black political figures. When asked about it Friday evening aboard Air Force One, Trump remained nonchalant. Quote, I made no mistake, unquote, he said. You know what, Q, do you feel like going first for this one?
Sure.
Okay, it's all you.
There's this interesting thing that happens. And our friend of the show, Qasim Rashid, pointed this out on his Substack today. Donald Trump does the clearly racist thing. MAGA, well, that's not what he meant. Trump, no, I definitely did. MAGA, oh, well, then, the libs are taking it out of context. Trump, no, they're not. MAGA, oh, well, then it's actually not really racist at all. Trump, actually, it is. MAGA. Oh, well, forget your feelings. Own the libs. America. Wow. MAGA is just deplorable. MAGA. Why do you keep degrading political rhetoric? What happened to civility? Just for that, we have to embrace Nazism because you made us. You did this. It's like the repeated cycle every time. And in this case, Ramses, there was a softball lobbed at him, right? Like even with his lie, there was a softball to fully throw the staffer under the bus, the staffer that they made up that didn't do it because he did it.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're going to make up the staffer, throw the staffer all the way under the bus. Say, I'm not racist. I didn't do it. I'm sorry. But of course he's racist. And of course he does not want his rabid racist base to think he's not. So even while throwing this fake made up staffer under the bus, he wouldn't throw them all the way under the bus and just say, I had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry. I'm not racist. You guys know I'm the most non-racist president. Like he could have gone there, right? If you're going to lie and if you're going to make up a story for your lie, make up a story where you're actually as far removed from what you're being accused of as possible. Except, of course not. They want to do all the racist stuff. They want to dog whistle racism very loud, but they do not like being called racist. Yeah. It is the strangest phenomenon that I've ever witnessed.
You're right. Joy Reid said it best, because MAGA, it's, again, this deplorable, ghoulish, cult-like community. They are up right now. They got everything that they could possibly want. They got the president. They got, Congress. They got Supreme Court, they got, ICE and police still, and they got whatever, all of the levers of government, but also all of the tiers of significant, influential tiers of society, business and whatever. Looks more or less how they want it to look. And with all the DI rollbacks, they're fortified against change. And they're still bitter, angry, whatever. They want to be racist, but not be called racist. I think that was the point you were making. But Joy Reid says something I think is just really potent. The reason why they're still angry is because they want us to love them. They want to be able to do all of that and still be loved at Thanksgiving dinner. They want to do all of that and still be regarded as decent people. They want to do all of that and still feel like their sense of entitlement is a natural phenomenon and a result of the divine order of God or the universe. And they don't want to be questioned about that. When you point out inconsistencies, it infuriates them. When you point out because a lot of these people hide behind the Bible. When you point out the flaws in the Bible, they push back as though their mortal soul is on the line, because it is. And in this story in particular, the truth of the matter is that Donald Trump shared a bogus, long debunked video still talking about how he lost the 2020 election because of fraud by Democrats or whatever, right? That was the bulk of what his post was. And the Obamas as apes, that's such a disgusting thing to say. But that was a brief little snippet at the end, almost like it was a continuation of Donald Trump's algorithm or a continuation of the screen recording or something like that. That's the truth of the matter, because I recorded it on my phone too. So I know that. But when Donald Trump tried to explain that by saying, well, I was posting this and that was at the tail end of it, to try to excuse this, which if that was true, he could simply apologize and delete it. But the fact that he leaned into it, he just does hurtful things on purpose. We know this. And particularly when it relates to those people, or really any brown people or trans people or any marginalized people. But I'd argue that Donald Trump is just as culpable as if the whole video was simply Barack Obama and Michelle Obama in that racist cartoon. Because what is your algorithm, sir, that would serve this up to you to be at the end of a screen recording? What sort of content are you consuming? What minefield are you navigating? Right? Because the algorithm will serve you what you want, what you consume. That's the theory behind it. And if you say back to me, no, I got this from a different person's screen recording. Well, who is it that you're following? Who are you subscribed to where this would even make it onto your feed in the first place? Would you not, I know you wouldn't, but would you not question, maybe I'm locked into the wrong paradigm, the wrong algorithms, the wrong content delivery system, if this is what ends up on my feed and then broadcast out to America, for which I will not apologize. You are culpable, sir. All right, let's move on. Opinions. Green card holders no longer eligible for SBA loans. Okay, so this one is back. I got something for MAGA here too. It's that kind of show, y'all. All right, let's get into it. This is from Newsweek. The Small Business Administration, or SBA, said in a policy note that green card holders will not be eligible to apply for SBA loans next month. Newsweek has reached out to SBA press team for comment by email. The SBA is a federal agency created in 1953 that helps Americans start and build small businesses. In addition to working with lenders to distribute loans, it provides Americans with counseling and contracting expertise. The change follows tighter lending guidelines the agency adopted last year and comes as the Trump administration ramps up immigration enforcement, including cases involving legal permanent residents who have been detained or placed in deportation proceedings. The policy note states that green card holders, quote, will not be eligible to own any percentage interest in an applicant borrower, unquote, operating company or eligible passive company, thereby having no ownership stake in business applying for a loan starting on March 1st. The rule will mean if even 1% of a business is owned by a green card holder, that would make the business ineligible for an SBA loan. Okay. Yeah. MAGA. I know you listen because I see you in the comments. But I feel like if you listen, one of two things is true. You're listening to find some failure in our logic, or to understand what it is that we're talking about so that you can try to prepare your defenses here on, this side of the political aisle with this perspective in particular. But beyond that, I can't imagine why you would consume this content. But I want to show you how you look. So the administration that you continue to fawn over recently posted, I forget which agency it was. It might be Department of Homeland Security. Posted an image. It was like a AI cartoon image of a beach and a car and kind of like looking like paradise. And the caption was, America after 100 million deportations. That's, a quarter of the population. And of course, there are not 100 million illegal, undocumented immigrants in this country. And I get it. You're going to say to me, no, that's not racist. That's just legal, illegal. But that's just the numbers don't support that. And you're going to continue to make apologies for this administration. That's your way. Okay. You cannot come to terms with the fact that you harbor something that is morally repugnant in your heart. And so let's talk dollars and cents. I don't even have to have a long conversation with you. How rich is this country with 100 million less people in it? Where is America's status with 100 million less taxpayers? Fortifying everything that makes this country so far ahead of our competitors that keeps us where we are on the global stage. We have the population to support that position. With 100 million deportations, we no longer have that population. And a lot of those people that you want to deport in that 100 million figure are the people that are actually smart, unlike you. America has a monopoly on the global brain power. So 100 million deportations, if indeed your logic says that everybody needs to be full U.S. citizen, blah, 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 however you justify it, you're going to lose a lot of brain power and money. Then what is your country? Now, the other thing I want to say, as far as the SBA loan stuff is concerned, this affects green card holders. By definition, green card holders are documented. The government knows who they are, where they are, what they're doing. They can work. So these aren't illegals. These are people that work, that live here, documented. They're in the process of perhaps gaining full citizenship or whatever the case is. Now, by your own standards, you only want the immigrants that come here and are productive and that pay taxes. Well, green card holders pay taxes. You want immigrants to come here and contribute to society. Well, SBA loan holders are people that by definition are starting businesses and they are creating jobs and they are contributing to society. This administration has done this on your behalf, MAGA. Now, I know that logic is not a tool that you use frequently. As Q would put it, because he had interacted with some MAGA folks. It's really more about vibes, not rhetoric and facts and numbers. So I get it. And if this is the vibe that you want, I understand. But just know what comes with it. Okay? Because again, you can make everyone illegal with the stroke of a pen. And you can deport people all you want. But what do you live in after that? Do you think all this stuff just stays the same? Do you think crime ever goes away? Crime and poverty are linked indefinitely. And this country has some systemic issues that ensure that poverty will always be a part of the equation. And there will always be undesirables because that is the nature of capitalism. There will always be unemployment under capitalism, meaning there will always be poverty under capitalism, meaning there will always be crime under capitalism. And they're just going to keep moving that bar. They're going to keep moving that goalpost until it reaches you. And then you will be the enemy of the state. A state that bears no resemblance to what it did look like prior to Donald Trump's election in 2016. Greatest country in the world, country with the most potential in the world, strongest this, strongest that, best this, that, whatever it is that you thought this country was, it'd be a far cry from that. I need you to understand that this is the hole that you're digging yourself in proudly. This is the find out part of the equation, as Q would put it. No, so none of this stuff is surprising to us. But not only have you made a choice, perhaps consistently, you triple Trumpers who are still on the Trump bandwagon after he posted that racist video of Obama and the Obamas and didn't apologize. That now reflects your morality. That now reflects your regard for black people in this country. It absolutely does. You are forever married to that moment. So not only are you morally bankrupt, but now you are moving toward actual bankruptcy. Subtly, slowly, racially. And I have to be the person to point that out to you. Q, if you want to jump in, it's all you. If not,
I love the if you want to with 17 seconds left. That's my favorite.
We got a minute. We got enough time. Go ahead.
1 out of the 10 is always a great ratio. Undocumented immigrants contribute billions annually in taxes, sales taxes, property taxes, income taxes, payroll taxes, and are ineligible for federal public benefits like Social Security, Medicare, and income tax credit. So they contribute billions to a system that they cannot extract benefits from.
Oh.
And then green card holders contribute and are ineligible to vote. So all of those, documented and undocumented, contribute billions to the economy of this country and cannot participate civically. In some cases, in a lot of cases, cannot benefit in any way from those tax dollars. And you want to get rid of 100 million people, which again is far more than the number of undocumented people that are in this country at any time, be that overstaying a visa or here on a trip as a tourist, because tourism exists too. Here we are, Rams.
All right. I said it was going to get a little icky. So I have such a tough time with these. So forgive me in advance. I'm going to do my best. All right. DOJ removes Epstein files accusing Trump of child grape. Again, we don't want to get demonetized here, so I have to kind of self-edit. This is from Raw Story. The Department of Justice reportedly scrubbed numerous files relating to Jeffrey Epstein and President Donald Trump from its website after Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the release of around 3 million Epstein documents on Friday. The Bulwark's Sam Stein noted that some details of documents containing Trump's name were hard to read. Those documents were unavailable on the DOJ's website less than an hour later. The pages, however, were archived on X by user Bobby Salsa. One of the documents recounted the claims of a woman who said that her friend was forced to perform oral on Trump. Quote, redacted reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey, unquote, the document stated. Goes on to state, the friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 or 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing this act. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Esptein, unquote. Another complaint said that he was driving a limousine when he heard disturbing remarks while Trump was speaking on the phone. Quote, complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone, unquote, the summary said. Quote, one of complainant's ex-girlfriends, redacted, told complainant Trump raped her, as did Esptein, unquote. Another, you know what? I don't even want to read the rest of this. I'm sorry. These are all really disturbing. And these files are available for people to see. But I think the thing that is important to point out here, and the reason why this is Better Do Better, is because this Department of Justice releasing these files and then redacting them when there is a permanent record on the internet further shows how willing this administration is to lie, despite what we see with our own eyes, what we witness. They will tell us what we didn't witness or what we did witness. They would rather have it that way. They will cover up, and this is what we're seeing here. This was basically a big oops, and it paints the president in a very bad light, obviously, if these victims are to be believed. Now, me, for one, I don't question it one bit. A little later, we got to talk about Kid Rock liking underage girls. And Q and I have had to cover so much of this disgusting stuff on this show that I never in a million years thought I would ever have to talk about on the radio. This job was supposed to be fun. We were supposed to be talking about dope albums that we liked and, like, you know, cool stuff. Anyway, this means that the people in the Department of Justice are culpable, of course, liars, and they are colluding with the rest of this administration to try to cover up this president's disgusting behavior. Now, the Department of Justice, and I understand that it's Trump's Department of Justice, but the Department of Justice should always remember that the employees there have an oath to the United States of America, to the Constitution, not to the president. Theoretically, prior to Project 2025, people could hold their positions regardless of which party they were affiliated with. I say it all the time. Donald Trump is not going to last forever. The man is near as makes no difference, 80 years old. And not in good shape if you believe his ankles and his bruises and his come and go dementia. So at the end of his time on this planet, you're left behind. And guess what? Now you have been covering up for a PDF file, as Q would stated. That makes you an apologist for the worst type of human being that could possibly exist. And I know that in this moment, everything in your mind tells you that you're defending America and this is what needs to happen. But I want you to ask yourself, is this the America that you want to be known for defending? And I want you to sit with that question, because you're going to have to answer it sooner than later. Stick around. We'll be back with more after this.